So it's an inclusive business model because, of course, we don't want to we can't do everything by ourselves, right? No one company can solve the entire agricultural problems here in the Philippines. So what we want to be able to do is partner with different stakeholders that already have a current solution, and then basically integrate our solution with their solution.
Now I'm with Jillian, the founder of Anihan Technologies.
Hi, everyone.
It's great to have you. I'd love to know more about your background and how you actually ended up becoming a startup and starting your own business.
Yeah, okay. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Anitech. So we're a hardware and software as a service company for the agricultural sector. And mainly what we're trying to do is enable farmers and wholesalers with data-driven insights so that they can make better decisions at the farm level and at the distribution level. So what we want to be able to do is inevitably reduce food loss because it's a very, very big problem in this country and in neighboring countries and like ASEAN. Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
How I got into this, I'm not an agriculturist. I graduated physics. I'm the daughter of a scientist. So I just had a contract with the National Food Authority. I was a consultant back then. And I was pretty obsessed with the problem. Really, really obsessed. I've seen the problems on the ground and interviewing a lot of farmers and decided to do something about it and make my own startup. And then the rest is history.
I'd like to know more on I think being a startup it's not a really common thing in the Philippines, right? Or is it?
It wasn't a common thing back then. Now it's, I'd say that the number of startups here are getting bigger, getting better. Yeah, because in the Philippines, a lot of universities are already setting up incubation programs within the university, and they're trying to promote students, faculty, and former graduates of that university to come in and build a startup.
So I'd like to know more on what sort of the problems you're trying to solve and how your startup's going to actually solve this problem in the Philippines.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I guess here in the Philippines, we're considered an agricultural country. In fact, we produce over 1 trillion pesos worth of crops every year. But the thing is, we lose 10 to 40% of that as well. So 10 to 40% of that, that's 52 billion pesos worth of crops lost before it even hits the market. So that's 52 billion pesos worth of crops that you could feed the population with. And the primary reason for that is we lack the data collection and decision support systems needed to act better and to farm smarter and store better, in the entire agricultural value chain. We have a very fragmented value chain. And if you don't have these tools or these emerging technologies within the palm of your hand, then things are going to keep going the way they are, and you'll excessively use inputs. You'll keep on overstocking to account for spoilage, and that's the reason why agriculture in this country may be big, but it's very expensive as well. And what we want to be able to do is relieve the entire value chain. With Anitech, we're building a hardware and software as a service company. We're providing not just the sensors, but also the platform, actionable data. We even do the installation, the maintenance, and the training for our users. We want to be able to bridge the gap between farmers and wholesalers having access to this kind of technology. So with our sensors, they're IoT sensors, it's Wi-Fi enabled. We monitor temperature, humidity, carbon dioxide, and light intensity for very important environmental conditions when you're monitoring greenhouses. So that's exactly why we did it. We wanted to monitor greenhouses first. And at the storage level, we also monitor almost the same variables, temperature and humidity as well. So what we want to be able to do is have a sensor at each stage of the supply chain. But for now, we're targeting greenhouses and post-harvest facilities that are storing and growing, let's say, leafy vegetables, high-value crops, fruits like bananas, mangoes, etc.
I'd love to know more, if there are many competitors in the Philippines, and if there are, we'd love to know, what's your differentiator within the market?
Yeah, that's a great question. I guess in terms of international competitors, I mean, there are a lot, like Israel companies, American companies, they've had numerous startups that are also in the field. Some do satellite imaging, AI, remote sensing as well. In the Philippines, sensor technologies there are only a few players, honestly, in the Philippines. And most that do IoT sensors are on smart cities or manufacturing use cases. With the agricultural sector, there aren't a lot of players. Mainly it's because the cost of, I guess, the components, that we're seeing those problems as well. Like, in order to build the kind of startup that we're building, you need to have a balance between your unit economics as well as the tech adoption rate. So that's why for us, we're not just focused on the sensors, the tech itself. We're also just as focused in terms of the training and the onboarding and the installation. Right. So I guess in terms of competitors, that's really the competitive advantage that we see. We're not just a tech company. We're a tech company that does it all for you. We do the installation, the maintenance, the training. It's because, we don't want the farmers to think about anything except to farm smarter and farm better. Or the competitive advantage, I guess, in terms of tech. We're an early stage startup, if I'm being honest. There are a lot of, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of tech startups out there that also have the same solutions. But in the Philippines or ASEAN in general, we believe that in order to pull off a solution like this and create big impact, you need to have that relational advantage with farmers.
I'd also want to know about like the go-to-market strategy, because I'm sure like there's a lot of farmers in the Philippines. My prediction is that, going for like the people who are already educated and know like the demand for it. Like,
that's a really great question. So I guess in terms of go-to-market strategy for us, what we want to be able to implement is actually an inclusive business model. So that's why we're very interested in a lot of partnerships. Like, for example, one of our first paying customers, Harvest Agribusiness Corporation. So they're an agri product distribution company. They have a household name. They've been here since the late 90s, and they have a big name in the agricultural sector in the Philippines. They're a greenhouse builder as well. So the type of partnership that we want to have with them, that we're trying to secure now, is like, for every greenhouse that you build, a sensor will be there. So it's an inclusive business model because, of course, we don't want to we can't do everything by ourselves, right? No one company can solve the entire agricultural problems here in the Philippines. So what we want to be able to do is partner with different stakeholders that already have a current solution, and then basically integrate our solution with their solution so that farmers can be able to digitize and to basically do more high value work. So we're looking to partner with, let's say, greenhouse builders, farm associations, government agencies for sure. Because, the agricultural sector is very political. You need the support of the government, because with this current administration, they've prioritized agriculture to be number one, in terms of funding, in terms of basically uplifting the economy and putting more investments. So for us, the go-to-market strategy is one to many. Get someone with as many farmer networks as possible, so that they can become the champion. Go-to-market strategy that we're looking at is really the training. It's hosting info caravans, being there door-to-door, farm-to-farm visits. It's, in this country, this is what you need. I'm sorry to say, social media barely works in this country for agriculture. Mostly because farmers have limited access to smartphones. Cellular signal is a problem in this country. Yeah. So that's why, let's say, road shows, info caravans are very, very important, so that you can be able to access as many farmers as possible.
Now I really understand like why you need, partnerships and, like getting together with other stakeholders and all that. Yeah, I mean, probably because like in Japan, like the market is much more matured, and there's so many things to do in the Philippines, and you need a comprehensive solution to them. Right?
Yes. What I've noticed ever since I've started Anitech and I started talking to a lot of agricultural stakeholders is there's not a lot of competition. Everybody wants to work with each other in the agricultural sector because the challenges that we're facing, we're all facing the same thing. There's no point in bickering now. We all just want to help each other make the Philippines better. And I love that. In the Philippines, we call it bayanihan, sense of community, the sense to help uplift each other. Because there's no point. Because the sector is stagnating, it's plateauing, and we need to be able to catch up and become globally competitive. That's where we want to be. And in order to do that, we need to be able to, open up and not be afraid of partnerships.
Okay. So if you're interested in actually collaborating with Jillian and
For us, we're interested in partnering with greenhouse builders, companies that work with irrigation systems, companies that work with building, let's say, indoor grow rooms, storage companies as well, like mobile storage companies, because we really need that. We lack the access to storage facilities in this country. But let's say other tech companies, we're very interested in connecting with IoT companies that could provide, like, let's say Wi-Fi, like, let's say Starlink, right? Oh my God, it would be great to partner with someone like Starlink, or someone that has IoT SIMs. For us, that's the high priority partnerships right now. Of course, as the technology gets better, as the market matures, we definitely need more partnerships moving forward.
what do you think are like the advantages and disadvantages of being a founder here in the Philippines?
Oh, okay. I guess advantages for us in the Philippines, since there's a lot of problems, there are a lot of challenges, gaps in every sector. There's a lot of room for growth and opportunity and solutions. So, for example, the reason why GCash or GCash and PayMaya, one of the top digital wallets here in the Philippines, boomed so well is because we felt it during the pandemic. There was no way for us to, pass money from one person to another or one store to another, and that's where they boomed. And here, in terms of the agricultural sector, the reason why we're starting this is because there are no basically strict standards yet in the Philippines. There's no this current status quo is people don't have sensors. People don't have sensors because people don't have the means to collect data, and whatever sensors are out there is too expensive for the market. So we wanted to create a cost-efficient sensor that every farmer can afford and use and basically rely on. One other thing I really like about setting up here in the Philippines is, let's say in the agricultural sector, when one person really loves your product, like in the agricultural sector, it's word of mouth.
Okay.
It's like, oh my God, because it's a small world. Agriculture is small.
So I guess a big advantage is that the market is huge. There are less competitors, I guess.
Yes.
But at the same time, the problem is huge. So like
the problem is huge. I mean,
but some more opportunities, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there are different sectors that are really booming in the Philippines. Like, for example, fintech, edtech, adtech. But sectors like ours, like, let's say agri-tech, biotech, or basically deep tech in general, it's untapped. And I like it. I like it because, I mean, yeah, it's a huge problem. Once you've hit that certain technology readiness level and it's ready for the market, it's not, I wouldn't say easy, but it's smooth sailing from there. I guess one of the challenges really here in the Philippines is number one, the ease of doing business. If incorporation were faster, getting permits were faster, basically processing anything,
Really?
via the government were faster. I'd say a lot more a lot more companies would want to set up shop here in the Philippines. One other thing is lack of infrastructure, really. Like, yes, smartphones are adamant here, in the Philippines, but some provinces have that problem, but we lack cellular signal is kind of iffy. We lack cellular towers in this country. Farm to market roads, are still being developed. Another problem that we're really facing, funding, funding. I know that Southeast Asia is really like, the one of the Southeast Asian countries are like the top countries to look out for, but here in the Philippines, we don't get as much funding as fast as, let's say, Indonesia or Singapore. So we get some. There are a lot of VCs that go here, but it would be great if there were more. There were more international VCs that see the opportunity here in the Philippines.
So is it usual to actually like go to Singapore to get funded, or is it?
Yes. Oh gosh. The usual scenario, which honestly I should have done,
Yeah.
but I'll have a chance to do it possibly next year. Is
Do you have anything to add or any questions? Or?
not really questions. I mean, just if anyone wants to ask anything, you can always hit me up on LinkedIn. Anyone who wants to collaborate, pursue projects, or invest, or who's open to investing in us, feel free to reach out to me.
Put her contact in the description and in my post. So yeah, feel free to contact her. Okay. It was great to have you. Thank you so much. I learned so much
Yeah,
from you.
thanks so much, Everett.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you. Awesome.